All right, let's dive into Marriott's 2023 performance and, honestly, their annual report this year. Pretty interesting stuff. We're going beyond just the usual numbers.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll be looking at the travel industry's comeback, post-pandemic.
Yeah.
And some exciting new things Marriott's getting into.
Right.
Maybe even like vacations on a Marriott yacht. Who knows?
He is more than just your typical hotel chain report. When you think about Marriott's scale. Nearly 8,800 properties.
Oh.
Over 30 brands spanning 139 countries. It's a lot to keep track of.
Yeah, that's a lot of pills to fluff.
Yeah.
But, okay, let's get down to brass tacks. The bottom line, Marriott's calling 2023 a banner year.
They are.
And looking at the report, I think they have a reason to celebrate.
Yeah, revenue growth was strong. And it wasn't just about, raising prices. They saw growth in both average daily rate.
Oh.
So they were able to charge more per room and occupancy, meaning more people were actually booking those rooms.
So is this a sign that the travel industry is, fully back after those rough couple of years?
It's a really good sign for sure. But what's interesting here is that Marriott's success, it wasn't evenly spread across all types of travelers.
Okay.
Business travel, making a strong comeback, especially among small and medium-sized companies. Seems like they are ready to get back to those face-to-face meetings, conferences, that sort of thing.
Makes sense. I guess maybe smaller companies are just more adaptable
Right.
than the big corporations.
Yeah.
They can just kind of change their travel plans quicker.
Yeah, good point. And then on the other hand, you've got group travel, like the big conventions, the big events.
Yeah.
It's picking up steam, but it hasn't quite reached those pre-pandemic levels. So still some room to grow there.
So Marriott's not just riding like a general travel wave.
Yep.
They're doing well in specific areas strategically. But how does all this translate into, cold hard cash?
Right.
What's the financial picture looking like?
So financially, things are looking really good, actually. Cash flow from operations was up a significant 34%.
Wow.
That gives them a lot of financial flexibility.
Yeah, it sounds like they're in a great spot to, reinvest that money back into the business.
Exactly. And that's exactly what they're doing, pouring funds into growth initiatives, including a pretty major technology upgrade, which we'll get into later.
Oh, exciting.
And they're not forgetting about their investors either. They returned, get this, over $4.5 billion to stockholders through dividends and share repurchases.
So taking care of their shareholders while still investing in the future, that's a tough balance for a lot of companies to strike.
It is.
But they're not just, sitting pretty with the properties they already have, right?
No, they're expanding too.
Absolutely. Marriott signed a record number of new deals in 2023. We're talking an average of 2.5 new projects every single day.
Wow, that's almost like a new hotel every few hours.
It is. It's incredible. And they're not just building more of the same, right? What about these new brands? What are they launching?
Yeah, they're definitely thinking about different types of travelers, different needs and preferences.
Okay.
So they've got City Express by Marriott, aimed at, budget-conscious travelers. And then there's 4 Points Express by Sheraton, another mid-scale option. Their first hotel's actually opening in the first quarter of 2024.
Oh, cool.
And they're also trying out this extended stay thing with studios. It's for the modern nomad, whatever that means.
Intriguing. It sounds like they're trying to cover all their bases, But they're also doing some partnerships, right? What's this whole MGM thing I keep hearing about?
Yeah, the MGM deal. This is a big one.
Okay.
So they partnered up with MGM Resorts International, created the MGM collection with Marriott Bonvoy, gives them a strong presence in the luxury travel segment.
So they're going high-end, too, not just budget and mid-scale. But speaking of Marriott Bonvoy, their loyalty program seems like a lot more than just free nights now.
It really is. Marriott Bonvoy has basically become a whole travel ecosystem now.
Really?
With a massive membership base. We're talking over 196 million people.
That's like the population of Brazil.
It is.
That's a lot of people.
Huge network.
What are they doing with all that, membership power?
Well, for one thing, they've got branded residences.
Okay.
So you can live the Marriott lifestyle year-round.
Huh.
They've also launched the Ritz-Carlton Yacht Collection.
Whoa, hold on. A Ritz-Carlton yacht.
Yeah, luxury cruising Marriott style. Maybe it's time to cash in those Bonvoy points.
I might have to look into that. But they're also getting into vacation rentals, right? What's up with homes and villas? by Marriott Bonvoy.
That's their answer to the whole vacation rental trend, you know.
Yeah.
Homes and Villas offers like curated and managed vacation rentals. It gives travelers even more options, all within the Marriott Bonvoy ecosystem.
So it seems like Marriott's trying to be like a one-stop shop for travelers, no matter what they're looking for. But on top of all this expansion and new stuff, they're also investing a lot in technology.
Yeah.
We touched on this earlier, but what exactly are these revenue generation engines they're building?
It's a multi-year plan, and the details are, still a bit vague.
Yeah.
But it's clear they're putting a lot of faith in using technology to improve their operations. They're talking about systems to analyze data better, personalize offers for guests, and optimize pricing, all that good stuff.
So not just about fancy algorithms for themselves.
Right.
It's about using tech to improve the customer experience, too.
Exactly.
But technology can be, a double-edged sword. What risks are they facing in this area?
Well, data security is huge.
Right.
Especially after that, major data breach they had back in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
They're constantly being watched.
Yeah.
Got to protect that customer data.
Yeah.
Any more incidents like that could really hurt their reputation.
True. It's a good reminder that even the biggest companies can be vulnerable in this digital age.
Yeah.
Trust is so important, and it can be really fragile. But besides data security, what other challenges are coming up for Marriott?
Well, the hospitality industry is incredibly competitive these days.
Yeah.
New players like Airbnb are changing things all the time. Marriott has to stay ahead of the game.
It's not just about price anymore, is it?
Nope.
They have to offer something unique, experiences, and value that set them apart.
Absolutely. And then there's always the uncertainty of the world, economic downturns, geopolitical events, pandemics.
Yeah, all that fun stuff.
All of it can impact travel, and that affects Marriott's business.
So even with a banner year under their belt, they still got some headwinds to deal with.
Interesting. All right, welcome back to our deep dive into Marriott's 2023 performance.
Yeah.
In part one, we saw they had some pretty impressive success.
Definitely.
Record signings, those exciting new brands, and that loyalty program. Huge.
It is. But now it's time to, get into the nitty-gritty.
Right.
Let's look at their financials.
Yeah, let's break down some of those wins.
Okay.
See what's really driving things.
So the report talked about a strong increase in both ADR and room nights booked.
Mm-hmm.
But for those of us who aren't like finance wizards, what does all that mean?
Sure.
What's it telling us about how Marriott's doing?
So ADR stands for average daily rate.
Okay.
Basically, it's the average price they charge for a room.
Right, across all their properties.
Exactly. And then room nights booked, that's pretty straightforward. It's
Yeah.
the total number of nights guests stayed at their hotels.
So an increase in both means they're charging more per room,
Yeah.
and they're filling those rooms more often.
Exactly. It's a good combination.
Yeah, a winning combo for sure. The report also broke things down by different types of customers.
Yes.
What were some of the key takeaways there?
Well, one of the biggest things that stood out was the comeback of business travel, especially with those smaller and medium-sized companies.
Wow.
Seems like they're really driving Marriott's revenue growth.
It's kind of surprising, isn't it?
Yeah.
With everyone talking about, remote work and all these virtual meetings,
Yeah.
you'd think those smaller companies would be the ones staying put.
You would. But maybe they're finding that, those in-person interactions are still really important
Yeah.
for building relationships, closing deals, that sort of thing.
Maybe they're just quicker on their feet, too.
Could be.
Less bureaucracy to deal with compared to the giant corporations.
Makes sense.
So it's easier for them to just get back to traveling.
Interesting. What about group travel?
Mm-hmm.
Like, have those big conventions and conferences recovered yet?
They are recovering, definitely, but
Right.
still haven't quite reached those pre-pandemic numbers.
So there's still room for growth.
There is.
So Marriott's in a good spot.
They are.
They're doing well in the segments that are bouncing back quickly.
And they're poised to grow even more when those big corporate events really come back.
Exactly.
Okay, but let's talk money. That 34% jump in cash flow from operations.
Right.
What's the story there?
So that increase in cash flow, that gives them a lot of options.
Like what?
Well, they can reinvest it,
Okay.
pay down debt,
Right.
reward their shareholders. It's a sign of a really healthy business.
It sounds like they're not just hoarding cash.
No, definitely not.
They're actually putting it to work.
Mm-hmm.
We talked earlier about their investments in growth,
Yeah.
particularly that tech upgrade they're doing.
Mm.
Can you tell us a bit more about that? What are they actually doing with all that investment?
So they're calling it a multi-year technology transformation
Gotcha.
to, enhance their revenue generation engines.
Okay, a lot of buzzwords there.
Yeah, a few. But basically, they're investing in systems that will let them analyze all their data better,
Okay.
optimize their pricing, personalize offers, and ultimately, bring in more revenue.
So using data to get smarter.
Exactly.
But tech investments can be risky.
They can.
How sure are they that this is going to pay off?
Well, they're definitely putting a lot of resources behind it.
Okay.
The report highlights it as a key strategic initiative. It seems like they really believe this is the future of the hospitality industry.
It does feel like technology is changing everything these days.
It is.
But let's not forget about the investors.
Right.
How did Marriott reward their shareholders in 2023?
They returned over $4.5 billion to stockholders.
Wow.
Through dividends and share repurchases.
Okay, dividends I get.
Yeah.
It's like a little thank you for owning a piece of the company.
Right.
But share repurchases, what are those?
So when a company repurchases its own shares, it's basically reducing the number of shares out there in the market.
Okay.
This can increase the value of the remaining shares.
So it makes them more attractive to investors.
Exactly. It's a way to give back to shareholders. And it also shows confidence in the company's future.
So in Marriott's case, those share repurchases, along with the dividends, are they saying they think the company's in a good financial spot?
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment.
Okay.
It's a strong signal to the market.
Yeah.
They're confident they can keep making profits, keep creating value.
But we can't talk about finances without talking about debt. Right?
Sure.
How's Marriott managing its debt?
Like a lot of companies, they do have a significant amount of long-term debt,
Okay.
but they also have that strong cash flow we talked about
Right.
and a solid credit rating. Seems like they're managing it responsibly.
So not debt-free,
No,
but not drowning in it either?
nope. Finding that balance.
All right, so we've covered revenue growth,
Mm-hmm.
cash flow, investments, shareholder returns, and debt management.
Lots of ground covered.
What's the overall takeaway from all this? What does it say about Marriott's financial performance?
I'd say the overall picture is really positive.
Okay.
They've had a record year in terms of revenue growth, driven by both higher prices and more people booking rooms. Their cash flow is strong. They're making smart investments.
Okay.
And they're taking care of their shareholders. All of that points to a company in a really good financial position.
But you know what they say? Past performance is not indicative of future results. What risks could impact their performance going forward?
Well, there are always challenges, right?
Yeah, of course.
The report does mention some potential headwinds.
Like what?
Things like economic uncertainty, increased competition, and, changing customer preferences, those sorts of things.
It sounds like they know what they're up against.
They do.
And hopefully they're taking steps to deal with it.
Yeah, they are. They talk about their commitment to risk management,
Oh,
building a resilient business model. They're also putting money into innovation,
right.
adapting to those changing market dynamics.
So in part 3, we're going to step back from the numbers a bit. We'll look at the bigger trends shaping Marriott's strategy and the hospitality industry as a whole. We'll talk about the future of travel, how Marriott's changing to meet those new expectations,
Sounds good.
and what it all means for you, the traveler. Okay, so we're back for the final part of our deep dive into Marriott's 2023. We've covered their financial wins, those ambitious growth plans, even some of the challenges they're facing. But now I want to step back, look at the bigger picture. What trends are shaping Marriott's strategy, and what does all this tell us about the future of travel itself?
It's really interesting to see how Marriott's going beyond just being a hotel company. They're becoming more like a full-on travel experience provider.
That's a pretty big shift. What does that actually mean, though?
Think back to what you talked about with Marriott Bonvoy. It's gone from a classic hotel loyalty program to this giant travel ecosystem, millions of members.
Yeah.
And it's not just about free stays anymore. It's about curating all these different travel experiences.
Right. The branded residences, the yacht collection, even getting into vacation rentals with homes and villas. It seems like they want to be a part of every part of a traveler's trip.
Exactly. And this is all because customers are expecting more these days.
Yeah.
Travelers don't just want a place to sleep.
Right.
They want, unique experiences, personalized stuff, things that fit their interests and values.
So Marriott's creating a more well-rounded travel offering to keep up. But how can they make sure those experiences are actually unique? They're a huge company.
Right.
Can they really, like, tailor things to individual preferences when they're working on such a massive scale?
That's the challenge for any big company, balancing scale with personalization.
Yeah.
But Marriott seems to be tackling it in a few different ways.
Okay, I'm curious. How are they doing that?
Well, for one, they've got that diverse brand portfolio.
Right.
Each brand has its own, personality, its own target audience, caters to different travel styles and preferences.
Makes sense. Whether you want that luxury getaway at a Ritz-Carlton or something more budget-friendly and trendy at a Moxie, they've got options.
Exactly. And even within each brand, they're creating those opportunities for more personalized experiences.
Okay.
Like take their Bonvoy Moments program, for instance.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that.
It gives members exclusive access to concerts, culinary events, even those, once-in-a-lifetime adventures.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's those kinds of things that make a trip really memorable.
Definitely. And they're investing in tech, too, right? To personalize the booking experience.
Yeah, they're working on systems that can tailor recommendations, make booking smoother, and, offer seamless integration across all their different offerings.
Sounds pretty high tech.
It is.
So it seems like they're doing a lot to make travel more personal and engaging. But what about those challenges we talked about earlier?
Right.
How's Marriott dealing with, the competition and the pressure to keep innovating?
Well, they're not ignoring those things, for sure. When it comes to competition, they're being strategic. Like, look at Airbnb. It's huge.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to, fight it head on, they embraced it.
Okay.
They expanded their own offerings in that alternative accommodation space with homes and villas.
So they're adapting to the changing landscape, but still playing the game on their own terms.
Yeah.
Smart.
Exactly. They're finding ways to, be a part of these new markets while still keeping their focus on brand standards and integrating their loyalty program.
What about data security? That's a big deal for any company these days, especially after that data breach they had a few years ago.
Absolutely. It's a top priority for them. They've been really focused on improving their cybersecurity because they know trust is everything.
Yeah.
And that any more incidents like that could be really bad.
Makes sense. But what about the bigger picture stuff?
Right.
The economic and geopolitical uncertainty, all those things they can't really control.
Those are always going to be a concern, and the report acknowledges that. But they're not just like sitting back and hoping for the best. They're actively working on risk management strategies, trying to build a business model that's, resilient, one that can handle whatever comes their way.
So they're planning for the unexpected. Always good to be prepared.
Definitely.
It sounds like Marriott is in a really good spot to navigate whatever the future throws at them.
I think so. They're showing that they're committed to innovation, adaptation, and putting the customer first. Those are all good things.
Definitely. Well, listeners, that wraps up our deep dive into Marriott's 2023 performance. It's been quite a journey.
It has.
We've seen a company that's not only financially strong and smart about their strategy, but also really embracing the future of travel. It's exciting to see.
Yeah, it's been a really interesting look at their business. And I think the main takeaway is that Marriott's not just a hotel company anymore. They're, becoming this all-encompassing travel experience provider. And that affects all of us who love to travel.
Absolutely. So when you're planning your next trip, think about what kind of experience you want. And think about how companies like Marriott are shaping the future of travel. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and we'll be back soon with another one.